This is utilizing ARPA funds. We had this bill last year. We're bringing it back this year. Hopefully, we're going to get it through the process. This would be to the RN nursing program. This bill would, if you are gainfully employed for 1 year, you would apply for reimbursement, and that reimbursement would equal $3,000 at a max over 3 years of $6,000 total. Do I have any questions?
This is the same bill we passed last year.
It's the same bill you passed last year. I do, any other questions?
This is Senate Bill 2373.
Mhm.
We have a committee for that.
We do.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry.
You're fine. Do I hear a motion? Okay, we do have a committee sub, so we'll take care of that now. And what we're simply doing there is adding skilled nurses. We had added this last year, but we missed it when we republished the bill this year. So we're just going back and picking that up. So that is the explanation for the committee sub. Do I hear a motion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is passed and will be reported out. Bill 2374. This is the nurse teachers loan replacement program bill. What we're talking about through this bill is this is ARPA funds. We are addressing a situation where we have a shortage of teachers teaching available for the nursing programs so that we can be able to accommodate and to produce more nurses for the crisis that we have currently. What this bill would do, you would be a Mississippi citizen, you would be employed, you would be teaching employed for a year. This would last over 3 years. You would get $3,000 each year at a maximum of $9,000 that would be paid out. Do I have any questions? Motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Bill is passed and will be reported out. Moving on to Senate Bill 2487. 86. We have done, and we've done this consecutively over the last 3 years, as we would open this code section for the NIL in the event that may be some language change that we need as the SEC and other organizations have their meetings. So there is that, we're just simply opening the code section, waiting for verbiage. Any questions?
This is an SEC.
No, not it. I'm sorry, I used it. You know, it's all of it. It's all of it. Whoever comes up and says, I need to change this. I don't. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is passed and will be reported. We're now going to go to Senate Bill 2487. This is the dual enrollment. I commend all the hard work that is going into this. I know that it was a lot of dedication on a lot of people's part. I know that every year everybody's trying to work on this. So again, this is a lot of good efforts. So explaining the bill, it creates a dual credit scholarship program, will be administered to the post-secondary education. The bill includes high school students, public, private, homeschool program. This applies to IHL as well. Just to kind of give you an idea, this would be 40% pay of a college hour tuition, and this is up to 15 semester hours while you're in dual enrolled in high school. I'm happy to answer any questions.
40% pay, the other 60% would be.
There's a lot of different, it would be out on the student, and some junior colleges in some areas that is a covered. I think there are different agreements. And I can ask if someone in the room would like to speak to that.
Stab at that, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
Kel Smith with the Community College Board. What the concept is that the state would provide a scholarship program. Participating institutions, they would charge 40% the average credit hour at a community college. So dollars per credit hour. And the institutions that provide a dual credit will be reimbursed through the scholarship program.
We have a proposed dollar amount that you're asking.
I believe that proposed dollar amount is 24 million. Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned that this covers private K-12 schools as well as public schools. How does that work currently? And how would it work under this program?
Look,
Right
Cal,
now, each institution, maybe one of the presidents speak up, and take that to speak, but each college has MOAs with the public schools or the private schools, and it varies college by college on what's charged for dual credit. They're currently offering dual credit to public schools and private schools, my understanding.
That's right. It's pretty substantial. And that's just so this.
Yeah, they would have to participate in this agreement, the institution.
So that if you're at a public school, local school district would pay 40% of the cost.
No, the way,
To the community college or
It would be-
the four-year university.
the way it would work is that the institutions themselves will be reimbursed 40%. Correctly, guys. So
Working through Jennifer's office.
Yeah. Yes,
sure.
Jennifer Roberts with the Student Financial Aid Office. Actually, the students would apply through our office, and because we already have an established mechanism for reimbursing the colleges for cost, they would apply through us, and we would actually track how many credit hours they've used. And so then we would just send the money directly from our office to the institution on behalf of the student. So it wouldn't actually matter whether the student was at a private school, homeschool, or public school, you know, anywhere. They, as long as they were Mississippi residents, they would be eligible for the scholarship.
The money would go to your community college or the four-year.
Correct. Yes. Directly to the,
The money's going to the public entity.
to the university or
The child
community
at the
college.
time is attending private, possibly a private institution, but the intent would be that they would move on from the private entity. And I think these programs are intended to serve as a pathway into our community college.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion? Okay, we also have a committee sub. And so I'll explain that at this time. In the original bill, it's just a technical, we should have had dual enrollment along with dual credit. So we're adding the dual enrollment verbiage throughout the bill. Okay, do I hear a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Bill is passed and we'll report out. We will go to Senate Bill 2580. Again, this is one that a lot of hard work has been done, and I appreciate all those and all the many hours that was spent in doing it. I think this is something that will be great for our workforce. And as I go through the bill, I'll be happy to answer any questions. One of the things that you will see in this is redesign of the MTAG and the HELP, and we will start with the HELP and how it is different. In the past, the HELP has been more designed for a 4-year institution. That will change to a 2-year which will pay out at 3,300 and 2-year of senior college at 8,900. Now you can use, if you want to go to a 4-year institution, you can take that 3,300 and apply that to that, and correct me anywhere if I misspeak. But at this time, that's with how the HELP program would be changing. All the requirements, the eligibility stays the same. That is the change in the HELP. Now then, for the MTAG would be the verbiage, it would now be called MTAG Works. And I think this is the exciting part about that. We go back and we pick up our adults. Normally, MTAG has only applied for those students coming out of high school. This will now open that up for adults. And as we all know, this would be a great opportunity for those that have established families. And let's just give an example. They're working now for $9.50 an hour, $10.50 an hour, and they have the opportunity to go back, and it will open it up for certifications as well. They can now become the HVAC person, the welder, and those type, which changes the entire course of living for that family. So, or that individual that has the opportunity to go back and do that. So MTAG is the one that is changing the most. It will then allow it's proposed that it will double the opportunity of students. It will also move from 1,000 each year at the community college level. If you happen to be in the high value pathways, you would get an extra 500, and that will be determined by the regions. And correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I believe because what's might be a high value on the coast is not what it is in the north or in the middle of the state. So it would be to those regions. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes, Senator Pope.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we pass this, is this the bill that would increase the scholarship funds appropriation? We would have to approve $21 million.
Yes.
Okay, if for some reason we didn't get that approved, say a 15 million, is the plan to prorate it among everyone is like kind of we do now?
Yeah, yes,
Yes, you miss.
yes, sir. The plan, probably what would need to happen is that with the high value pathway bonus would probably be impacted first, and then proration among everyone else. But yes, there is some language built into the bill to allow for some changes to be made by the post-secondary board to ensure that awards are made to stay within that budget.
And the
We would probably come back and ask for the balance, but yes, that is.
So the post-secondary board would actually set the policy of what to do. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Senator Blunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You mentioned that there was, thank you. Is there a committee sub on this bill?
There's going to be, yes, there's going to be a technical amendment.
So your amendment may answer one of my questions. Can you go ahead and
Sure.
explain the amendment?
It's being passed out right now. And what there was some typos, if you would, I'll direct you to line 147. We'll be deleting the words 200% and substituting that for 100%. If you look at further down at line 169, we would be deleting the words exceeds and substituting that for does not exceeds. Does that answer your question?
If you answer one of them, I'll be happy to make a motion.
Okay. Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I did have other concern.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to digest this from the presentation we had the other day and the bill that's before us now. I recognize a lot of work has gone into this. I think what we heard in the talk the other day, the system hadn't been changed in about 30 years, and it past due for change. And there's a lot I see in this that I like, but I do have some concerns. I'm thinking specifically about students who can make as high as 28 on their ACT, come from a family making $38,000 or less. They're currently eligible for help, and can go to a four-year college. With tuition paid. And under this proposal, they would essentially see their award reduced by 2/3. They would no longer be able to go to like the area I represent, Jackson State University, and have their tuition paid. They would get the equivalent of the community college tuition, which is about a third the amount. And that's challenging because a lot of students who can go to four-year school right now may not be able to afford four-year school. If this proposal advances the way I understand it, and again, I'm still trying to understand it. So, none of us were involved in the meetings that took place last year, and we're all just building all of this. So I'd like to continue to study this and meet with anybody here who wants to meet with me and work with you before the bill comes up on the floor, so we can try to determine what the overall increase in funding is good. I think that there are some folks who may take a step backward on this proposal, and I'm going to just have some more time to study that and work with you and get it before we take something before.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion?
That was sufficient to pass committees.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill has been passed and will be reported out. Okay, we're gonna move to 2581. And I will ask Senator Williams to explain the bill.
2581 or 2590, I'm going to explain.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2590.
Pretty sure I'll do a poor job. Okay, we're all on 2590.
I'll go back and get 2581.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bill that is speaking to a specific parcel of land on the Mississippi State campus in Starkville, Mississippi. Currently, the university has the ability to enter into a 50-year lease with a private contractor on it. They're requesting the ability to expand that to a 65-year lease. As we know, construction costs and all those things have changed. It just gives them more flexibility as they're negotiating with what I believe is going to be residential housing. That's all it does.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Senator Pope.
We passed a bill or tried to pass a bill, looked at a bill a year or two ago about leasing the infrastructure at Southern Miss. And that was the biggest argument was, well, that lease is too long. It's making a president and administration use something for way too long a time. And here we are going from 50 years to 65 years. And I'm concerned, and my question is, does that not concern the chair that we're going for 65 years of state public property?
There is some concern there, but I would point out that there was a difference. One was on maintenance of HVAC versus housing. So I think that is makes somewhat a statement within itself, but I do hear your concerns and am happy to discuss those. Yes, Chairman.
It is very narrow in scope that it pertains to a specific piece of property. There's a singular use here. The concern of the president, I think, is there. So I think that's one reason we have such a narrow scope. It's not a broad piece of legislation.
Correct. Thank you. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Bill was passed and will be reported out. We're going to go back to Senate Bill 2581. And this bill is a technical bill. It's the Commission on College Accreditation. And the technical change here is, although the commission has been housed at IHL since its creation, there's been a recent review of IHL's responsibilities, and their understanding or their finding was that there was no language that they had that authority. So what this bill would do is it would allow IHL to have that authority to provide staff and assistance to MCCA. So again, this is a bill that's being requested by IHL just for clarification and so that they can provide the necessary support that they need to. Are there any questions? Yes, Senator Boyd.
Title sufficient
Motion.
to pass.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is passed and will be reported out. That is all I have this morning. So thank you all for attending. Right. Thank you. There's a lot of folks in this room that can answer a lot of your questions today if you've got a few minutes. I'm sure that Jennifer Rogers and some of these others would be happy to help you with that.
This is new to me, so you're leaning on your shoulder, and those things that. We can go together.